The story begins in Washington, D.C., during the 1960s in a private Catholic school known as Holy Cross School. Boys and girls are separated from each other in the installations. During the break, a student named Adam is talking to his friend Jimmy about how the girls seem to be having more fun, while also eyeing them through the wired mesh fence that keeps them apart. Then Andre comes to tell Jimmy that Carl says he's a faggot. Jimmy doesn't think much of this, but Adam prompts him to stand for himself and fight Carl. After Jimmy receives many punches, he beats Carl to the ground and then realizes Adam set him up with Andre to get him to fight. So Jimmy punches Adam in the face so hard Adam loses a tooth. Adam returns the punch, but then they're separated by a nun that works in the school. She takes them to detention. After detention, Adam goes back to his home. His parents aren't there, but they left him food. Since he saved his fallen tooth, he glues it back in place. Then goes to his room with the meal and a Playboy magazine. The next day, he shows up at the entrance of the school, but decides not to go in. Instead, he focuses his attention on a couple that's leaving their apartment. For some reason, Adam decides to go inside, breaking into their property. He finds a pair of binoculars and takes a look at the windows of the apartments in front. Not finding anything interesting, he leaves. He then sees that a postman has left the mail at someone's property. So he takes the mail and uses the steam from a kettle to unseal the envelopes. One of the letters is an invitation from the White House, specifically signed by John Fitzgerald Kennedy, aka the President of the United States at that moment. There's another enigmatic package from a man named George to the recipient, Catherine Caswell. After snooping the mail, he puts it back on the mailbox, but has second thoughts about going inside, so he takes a look at the window to see if anyone's inside. But he's caught off guard when a lady appears right beside him to find out what he wants. This is of course the very own Catherine Caswell. Adam is a bit nervous, and the best thing he comes up with is to tell her that he lives across the street, and was wondering if she could give him a job to save money for a trip to Europe with his friends. Catherine finds it convincing enough and lets him inside her home. Under the promise of a little pay by doing some landscape work on Catherine's garden, Adam has gotten himself a job. Back at Adam's house, he's taking pictures of Catherine while she gets dressed, and it turns out he has a pretty good view from his room. At school, he sneaks into the girls' area and asks Faith if she'd like to come to his house later to listen to some records. She agrees. Then he's ready for the first day at his job. Catherine shows him the way to the garden. Everything looks well taken care of. That's why when she tells him to rip it all off, he's taken aback. But does what he's being commanded. Adam is now finished with the work for that day, so he returns home. His parents are in the living room and they notice how dirty he is. Naturally, they ask him what's the cause of that. He answers that he was working on Catherine Caswell's garden. His parents seem concerned by this, so they invite him to sit with them on the couch and give him a talk on the type of person Catherine is. They basically insinuate that she's a woman who has done many things of which they don't approve of. The mother also emphasizes she's not like them and to stay away from her. However, the dad is okay with him working there, but warns him not to linger there more than necessary. Adam returns to his room and pulls down his camera to take more pictures of Catherine. Something unexpected happens. John F. Kennedy enters Catherine's home, and now Adam has it all in photos. Back at Catherine's garden, Adam uses the opportunity to ask her about her relationship with the president. She first assures him they are friends that met at school, but after Adam insists he saw him last night entering her house, Catherine tells him he saw nothing and that some things are meant to be kept private. Then Catherine leaves the house and Adam decides to follow her. He hides behind some bushes and sees a mysterious man that says something to her, and then she leaves as if nothing. Adam is perhaps starting to fantasize too much about Catherine. He cuts out a picture of her face and pastes it onto the body of a Playboy model. After school is over, Adam waits outside for Faith to come to his house, but she brings a friend of hers. However, that doesn't prevent them from kissing. But the kissing sessing won't last long because Adam's chipped tooth loosens in Faith's mouth. She thinks it is gross and tells him they can see each other again when he gets it fixed. So he tells his parents about the broken tooth. But this conversation doesn't go smoothly. They are mad at him for not telling them before and for not spending time with them anymore. Adam leaves the house very annoyed and makes his way to Catherine's place. He sees her through the window relaxing with some friends. But a man catches him peeping and grabs him by the collar to push Adam inside the house, where he is greeted by Catherine. Turns out this man is Catherine's ex-husband and gets annoyed at the fact that she ordered the garden to be destroyed. When Adam gets out from the dentist, he notices the same man he saw talking to Catherine while he was hiding the other day. This was Lucien Carver. Adam follows him and eavesdrops on the conversation he has with Catherine's ex-husband and Lucien. They first talk about the Cuban crisis, and then the ex-husband says to Lucien that Catherine writes everything down in her diary and that could be a liability. Adam is now at Catherine's place as per usual to do his job, but this time he's greeted with a note that says that even though she has the seeds to plant, they'll have to wait for a rainy day. And essentially tells him to go home. Adam, of course, doesn't pay attention to this and uses the opportunity to wander around her house. He finds this diary her ex-husband mentioned, but is not able to read much. Catherine arrives with a man and he rushes to hide. Once the encounter is over, Adam comes out and warns her about the third guy that arrived to the conversation with his ex-husband. She immediately knows this man is a Cuban and tries to call Kennedy to warn him about something, but he's busy. It's pouring rain after Adam is back from a party, so he goes to see Catherine. She's already planting the seeds. She tells him she was painting before and he says he'd like to paint. Catherine gives her the materials and starts painting, but soon it all turns into a playful mess with the paints. The next morning, Adam's mother finds him on his bed with the t-shirt full of paint stains. The mother is particularly concerned with this because she knows it has to do with Catherine. To address this situation, Mike makes his way to Catherine's house, where he's welcomed by Lucien. Mike is surprised and concerned by how much Lucien knows about him. Even a trip to Texas he'll take soon. This is because Lucien is connected to the government. Either way, Mike has to remind himself why he's there. Catherine assures him that if what he wants is that his son won't come over to work, he can consider it done. As simple as that, the interaction ends and Mike leaves. Now that Lucien and Catherine are alone, he says to her that her friend Jack, presumably as a nickname for referring to Kennedy, won't talk to him or anyone for that matter, and that she's the only connection to the Oval Office. Catherine's response is that he has made it abundantly clear that no talking can happen between anymore. But Lucien is determined to warn him that if he refuses to deal with Cuba, then Cuba will deal with him. In other words, he believes that Jack could be in danger. But right when he says that he's her son's godfather, the conversation reaches a point of no return because this is a sensitive topic for Catherine due to her son's death. Now across the street is Adam's father, who's really mad at him, so he resolves to ground him and forbids his interactions with Catherine. Catherine tries to contact Kennedy through the phone once more, but when that doesn't work, she plants herself in front of the White House. A guard greets her, but refuses to let her in. The next thing we see is that Adam arrives at school and makes his way up to where the nuns are watching TV. It's breaking news, they're announcing the president's death. Adam comes out and shares the news with the students that soon start to spread the word around. Adam's mother opens the door to Catherine. She believes Adam has something of hers. This thing she's referring to is the diary where she writes everything, including important details about the situation with Cuba and her affair with Kennedy. She's right about thinking that Adam might have it, because he did in fact. Catherine returns back home and finds her ex-husband there. He tells that everything would be alright, even that they can start a new life together, but just as long as she gives the diary to Lucien. Catherine says she'll think about it. After that, she meets up with Lucien and tells him that she's leaving, but he reminds her that the diary still poses a problem. Catherine says he has nothing to worry about because it's hidden. He doesn't say it, but he knows exactly who might have it. She knows he'll do anything to get it, so comes back running looking for Adam. Catherine finds him at the school church where he has been sent to due to making a funny, but true remark about Kennedy's wrong German pronunciation of the word Berliner. Adam agrees on giving back to Catherine the diary, but before arriving home he sees Lucien leaving his house. Adam rushes to his room where he finds a mess, a clear sign that everything has been searched. Of course Lucien took with him the diary. Adam goes to Catherine's house and finds Lucien there holding the diary. He demands to return it, but instead throws it away in the fire. Simply saying that her diary showed she was confused about life. Then Adam finds Catherine on the ground, lifeless. The scene looks as if she was thrown down the stairs. Adam will later be receiving a package containing a collection of Catherine's paintings that when put together in order formed Adam's face.